So,
all right, thank you, PK. Let's move straight to our other story. Now, for some months now, there was a raging debate over whether the federal government continues to pay subsidy on petrol or not. Now, after months of denial, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, has finally admitted that it is owing huge debts to its international petrol suppliers. The NNPCL stated that due to the situation, it is facing financial strain, thereby impacting supply sustainability and posing substantial threats to national fuel supply. Now, the National Oil Company had blamed weather conditions, including thunder and lightning and flooding and bad roads, for the long fuel queues across the country. CK, let me come to you on this one. Why did it take so long for the NNPCL to finally admit that it is owing foreign petrol suppliers that's under financial pressure?
Yeah. You know, time and time again we'll be saying on this program, and it's almost becoming like a broken record, that the NNPCL and the former NNPC as it stands, within the hierarchy and their leadership, there's a high level of disconnect between the organization and Nigerians. And most often than not, they tell lies. Let's start with the easiest one. The GMD of NNPCL, Carrie, told us last year that the Petrol refinery will come on stream because before the end of last year. From there, he moved it to February. He moved it to March. At the last count, it was 6 movements. The last one he said was that it was going to be August. Today is what? September 2nd. That is on one hand. When the issue of this scarcity started, as we rightly stated in the intro, the NNPC came out to say, oh, it was a logistic problem. At the point, they blamed it on the end bad government. You remember they blamed it on the... Then another one, it was the road. Oh, it was air. It was sea. It was land. It was everything that was nothing on earth. Now, Reuters came out with a report some weeks back and said that their investigation has showed that the NNPC is owing about $6.8 billion to suppliers. NNPC came out to deny it. They said it was a lie, as they normally do. But what they did a few weeks after, they went and declared 3 trillion profit. Does it make you are owing $6 billion and you are declaring 3 trillion profit? Even a big, if you understand what, does it make any sense?
I don't know who they are trying to.
I don't know who they are trying to deceive, or who are they trying to impress the president, or who? I will tell you for free. If you go when the scarcity started from Abuja,
okay,
in front of the NNPC tower, where the GMD of NNPC sits on the 13th or 15th floor, and his executive directors, opposite that, directly opposite, there's a filling station there. There have been queue.
Right in
front of that man. When he goes up and comes every day, he sees that queue, and they will still tell you that. And what did the number tell? Oh, we have enough in the reserve. We have 1 trillion in the reserve. And now,
that's like the normal narrative.
That is, but look at what is happening. Now the problem is that report coming is that 5 ships have petroleum products that they want to discharge on the high seas. It's already in Nigeria, but they have refused to discharge because they don't know whether they will be paid. Government tried to do a short last week or thereabout and gave about $300 million to NNPC to be able to address this shortfall. It still haven't helped.
That's like a flash in the pan.
If drop in the
oil. It's a drop in the oil. Now you ask yourself, what we have always asked, if our refineries were working, as we've been crying out since all these days, we won't be here.
Okay.
And we spend trillions and trillions of naira to do what they call TAM. You know what that means?
Turn around maintenance.
They have been turning, and nothing has turned. Not a single drop of petroleum products.
All right, let me turn to BK this time. Now that NNPCL is declaring financial pressure, what are the implications for Nigeria? Are we to brace up for fuel shortage crisis?
Honestly, they've already said that the financial strain that they are going through could impact fuel supply nationwide. So they've told us what will happen. There's no need to ask whether supply hiccups won't happen. There's no need to ask. It's an inevitability. We have a national oil company that is notorious for lying to its people. The NNPC is the complete opposite of transparency. It is such an opaque national company. And there was something that I suggested in 2015 during the early months of journalist hangout.
Okay.
I said, this NNPC, government should turn it to a public-private company.
Okay.
The motivation for that suggestion for me came from the flotation that Brazil did for Petrobras. It was so heavily subscribed, it set a world record. Today I read article was suggesting this.
That should be on the stock exchange.
This was something that I talked about in 2015. And I mentioned Petrobras. Look at the Petrobras example. I'm not saying corruption has been banished from Petrobras totally. No, I'm not saying that. But when the public
Became
and the
involved,
private,
shares,
when private concerns, private individuals get involved in the ownership of a company, the transparency that NNPCL had not been accustomed to, we'll begin to see it. This is the way. Okay, look at, let's even give the example of NLNG. NLNG is a Nigerian company that I think Sani Abacha set up. But Nigeria does not run it. An oil company runs it for us. And at the end of the year, profit is shared.
They declare.
The 3 tiers of government, they get their own. They get their share every year. That is an example of a properly run company. You know? So we are saying that, can't we do such a thing? I know that NNPC, they have assets. NNPC today should actually be a player in foreign countries because we see public-owned oil corporations like them being international players. We see them. What is the problem with us?
BK, let me come in here. Let's talk about corporate governance in the NNPCL. How do we fix it? Should heads start rolling?
Heads may roll today and we'll still be back at the problem.
So it won't solve
the problem. The solution is what I have come up with, which Article 2 has come
on the
up.
stock.
Let it be a public-private entity. It's as simple as that. The people who poisoned the mind of former President Yaradua and pushed them to revoke the sale of those
refineries,
moribund Nigerian refineries. They've done a great disservice to our nation. Look at where we are. Since the death of Yaradua, the money that we have spent on those refineries, and we've achieved nothing. You look at Kaduna refinery, for example, what is there? What is there? How do you even get crude oil supply to the refinery when the source of crude is there in the south-south? Look at the distance. You want to move crude oil in pipelines more than 700, 800 kilometers. You think it won't be breached along the way when those boys are waiting to steal? So, I mean, the refineries should have been sold at that time. All these people who get emotional when it comes to selling national assets. All these labor Luta people who come and shout, what have we gained with our refusal to sell the refineries? I can tell you, People like Dangote, they wanted to buy at that time.
Yes, I remember.
If we had sold it, they won't be where we are today. It talks about the many times they've shifted the goalpost. Kyari cannot tell you with finality that this is the day that that refinery will begin to work. Neither does the president, who is the oil minister, know when Wally refinery, for example, will start to work. At best, if they tell him, they will lie to him the way they are lying to all of us.
Okay, let me come to you because of our time. Well, we have maybe just 2 minutes to go. But corporate governance, how do we fix it for the NNPCL? BKO suggested that even if heads roll, we'll still get back to the problem. He has suggested a solution. Do you have a different point here?
You know, my worry is that we thought the solution to the problem within the oil sector was the passage of the PIA. You remember the PIA?
Talking about the PIA. Why has it not worked?
That is what we should be asking ourselves.
It's not fully implemented.
You know, it is not fully implemented. One of the recommendations within that act was the privatization of NNPC, not privatization, going public.
Going public.
It went. That is how you have NNPCL. The L there is limited. We now say it's a private company. Those there, are they behaving like those in private?
Is it not Nigeria?
Is it not Nigeria that are this thing? Let me say,
is it not even the federal government that assisting?
That still have. Now ask yourself. He talked about Petrol. Do you know there is a company known as Aramco, which is Saudi Aramco, which is one of the biggest in the world? Have you seen the operation center? I saw BKO. I was happy with his report when he went to Dangote, when he stood in that transmission or whatever this thing. And you see that somebody will sit down there and be telling you the number of petroleum product that has been NNPC with all that have been in existence for him. NNPC cannot tell you the number of crude oil that we get on a daily. Forget all this. All they are doing is forecast. 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. Most of they cannot be proved. In this issue of just around the issue of this, they said one of the reasons why petroleum subsidy was removed was because of smuggling.
Yeah, the Minister of State.
You've forgotten that?
He talked about smuggling.
They have removed the subsidy, and until now, we are still having our products being smuggled.
And that will happen.
So you see,
that will happen because as it is now, as it is now, because of the crash of our currency, the currencies of the countries around us are stronger than our currency. That's why they are mopping up.
So it's more profitable for them
to take
it.
So they can offer anything, bring in out.
And you see the number of seizures they have at the border, mostly within the north. The seizure every day. So you can see that
a lot of the fuel supply for Nigeria goes as far as Central African Republic.
Wow.
Cameroon, Central African Republic, Burkina Faso. Our fuel is going that far.
That far.
We've helped subsidize petrol for that.
The first and foremost we need to clean up the whole of NNPC.
The whole of NNPC.
Starting with the irrespective of executive director. It may not solve the problem.
It won't solve it.
It may not solve the problem.
This was what Rufai suggested, that they should sack everybody. I now say, okay, you sack. Whom are the people that you bring? Are they not Nigerian?
They're still Nigerian.
You know that the petrol sector is a specialized sector. You will still have to bring people who had worked in that sector.
All right, BK.
And the people who had worked in that sector, a lot of them, we don't trust them.
Why is Mobile?
We don't trust them.
Why is Mobile working?
So I don't understand.
Why is the other ones? All those other privates.
All right, gentlemen. All right, gentlemen. Thank you very much. How time flies when we discuss Nigeria. Thank you so much, CKM, Chris Kende. Thank you so much for having this conversation. Thank you very much. And also thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for
thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I hope that you get better and better.
Exactly, one step at a time. And that's it on Journalist Hangout today.